Hello, hello! What's everybody doing? It's Big XF in the house, y'all. Just kidding. Oh, forgot to turn my mic on Twitch. Hello, hello, Twitch. So, guys, as you've probably seen if you've been watching this channel, I have been doing, or I've done rather, a 14-day game dev stream challenge, which meant that during 14 days I tried to stream every day. I didn't manage on one Sunday, but I made up for that. And also I tried to stream for at least 3 to 4 hours each day so that I get as much work done as possible uh, when it comes to doing work. Oh, by the way, let me just get 1 second, guys. Yeah, I need my task manager on because I need to know if my computer is burning up or not. I am simultaneously both recording with OBS with high quality and streaming to Twitch, and I hope it's all going good. I mean, my CPU isn't going above 1/4 total, but it is going at 1/4, and we've got memory at half. I should probably upgrade my memory anyway. Yeah, anyway, if you want I can show you guys. Let me give you a quick sneak peek. Oh, 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 yeah, there we go. I've got this wonderful i7 5930K, which was well, at its time not underrated, but nowadays it is underrated. This is a 6-year-old CPU which can very much handle its own in today's market. Yeah, but anyway, getting back to it. So these past 2 weeks I have been streaming each day. I didn't manage for 3 to 4 hours every day, but I did manage at least an hour and a half every day at the very least. And during that time I made some changes. Well, rather not changes, but rather I developed a bunch of stuff into my game. Now let me give you guys a bit of a background story on why I started this project. So basically, COVID hit. We all know that it did. I mean, it was serious in March here where I live in Europe, in Romania. It was serious in March, so I had to, I had to change my life a bit, and plus I needed a bit of an away from working, and I severed ties with the company I was working, and I said, okay, so I'm going to take April off because I think I didn't. Yes, I only worked until the end of March, and I took April off, and then during April I started streaming again and doing YouTube content, and the idea was that well, I basically uh, I was basically getting bored with just playing games. So what I thought about next was to actually try and start making my own game. But in order for me to do that, because I did make some other, or rather I worked on some other games a few years ago. Even last year I worked on a very simple egg catcher game for children, which you can find on the Android App Store. It's called, on the Google Play Store, it's called Egg Yolk. It's a very simple game. It doesn't really have many downloads, but then again, I didn't put any money into advertising it. I was almost tempted to put some money into advertising it because I was really curious how far that would get me. But anyway, you can find some of my videos on making that game on my YouTube channel. Just go there and go to the that is the same name as on Twitch. So, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you know what my YouTube channel is. So just go to my my YouTube channel's playlists and go to game dev, and I have videos of me making that game as well, or working on it rather. Right. So the idea is that I really wanted to make a great game. I grew up playing games, especially strategy games like Heroes of Might and Magic and Age of Empires and Caesar 3 and other city builders and other strategy games. Not that I don't play other types of games as well, but I guess these hold a dear place in my heart. And then in April, around mid-April, I started coming up with this idea of I wasn't just content with playing games on my YouTube channel and making videos about, you know, gameplays of them or playthroughs of them. I was really in or thinking about making a series analysis of the Heroes of Might and Magic series. And if I remember correctly, I might still have this on my. I might still have the file that I did. So I only got to writing the script for the intro, and then I was going to write about King's Bounty, but I had to get more technical data on the games. I wanted to do both a game design and a game mechanics analysis, as well as a game feel, art and music and all that jazz. So I wanted to analyze these games, all of the PC games of the Heroes of Might and Magic genre, at length. I wanted to make, like a 1 hour long video in which I go into detail, starting with King's Bounty, because that was the predecessor to Heroes of Might and Magic. Starting with King's Bounty, I wanted to go and make that. And while I was doing this, then the next idea jumped in my head, which was, how about you actually make a Heroes of Might and Magic clone? And at first it was supposed to be just a clone, take Heroes of Might and Magic 2, clone that, because I personally believe that Heroes of Might and Magic 2 is the best of the series. Heroes of Might and Magic 3 is also very good. It's up there. It's almost a tie with 2, but 2 is better in a music sort. The art style, even though it's cartoonish, it's actually plain, simple, and easy to look at. Heroes 3 can have a bit more coloring and a bit more, it's a bit more intense to look at for hours on end. Or at least that's how I feel about it. And so, also the mechanics are better in 2, in my opinion. Heroes 3 has. I don't want to get too much into detail about that. I will probably still make that video about me analyzing the series. But Heroes 3 did some wonky stuff with the magic. It created the schools of magic, the 4 elemental schools of magic, and I thought that was, well, how should I put it lightly? Just not sufficient. School of Magic should, if you're going to plan to have School of Magic, do something like the Warlords Battlecry series did, where they had like 7 or 8, or I don't know how many Schools of Magic those games have. Let me just have a look, actually. I'm curious. Warlords Battlecry Magic. The Time Magic. There's also Time Magic in Warlords Battlecry. Illusion Magic. It's crazy, man. Game mechanics. I think here. Wait, hero classes. Level up. Items, mana, command. I think level up? Let's see here. No, this isn't it. Experience leveling. Is it here? It's I'm not getting to it, but the idea is that Warlords Battlecry, which was a real-time strategy game made after the Warlords TBS games, this game had a bunch of schools of magic, and even though each school of magic has obviously less spells than the ones that Heroes 3 has, I really thought that it was a better, from a mechanic standpoint, a better implementation than that. Oh, hello, Andre. Than that of Heroes 3. So just having the four schools of magic is really lame in my opinion, and some spells don't even make sense to be in either of them. If you think about Magic Arrow, that could maybe be in Earth Magic, but it shouldn't be in any of the elemental magic books. It should be maybe in some kind of a enchanting or I don't know, creation, like mechanical armor stuff. Anyway, I'm going on a tangent over here. So the idea is that the main point is that I wanted to actually remake Heroes of Might and Magic 2. There is, by the way, you guys can check it out. I will show you right now. There is a Succession Wars mod for Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Succession Wars. Succession Wars mod. Come on. Here we go. So you can basically play Heroes of Might and Magic 3 with the graphics and the factions of Heroes of Might and Magic 2, plus a couple of units added in and a couple of other buildings and stuff like that. It's not really that bad, to be honest. It's quite well done. What version are they up to? These look. It's okay, so it's 0.8 still. The game looks great, but still, you know, putting more than 20 years old game on full HD or bigger resolutions and having, you know, like, I don't know, 2/3 of the map visible at one time, and your hero be, you know, like minuscule on the screen, and everything else looking very small, and you having to walk around those objects, actually takes away from the experience that was nice about Heroes 2. So that's why I did implement in my game, if we look at it, I did implement a function to zoom out, but I hope that people aren't going to play zoomed out all the time. But at least they have the option. They can either play zoomed in or zoomed out, right? And maybe I can actually even, you know, zoom in even more, because this is still a lot of information on the map right now, and I wouldn't like things to continue like that. I hope OBS is still recording. Yes, it is. It's only taking 10% of my CPU, and then Twitch stream studio beta is taking about 12% as well. So that's okay. Anyway, getting back, so yeah, you can basically play Heroes of Might and Magic 2, almost Heroes of Might and Magic 2. It's not the same game, but it is quite similar in the Heroes 3 engine with Full HD turned on, or even bigger than Full HD, right? So that was something great. I have met somebody in the community that is working on actually taking Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and rewriting it with C or C++, I don't know exactly which. He's just taking that and rewriting it so that it works on modern resolutions with, you know, modern inputs, I guess. I don't know if he wants to take it to mobile as well. I haven't yet discussed this with him, but you know, I might in the future. I haven't seen him online in quite some time. I might have to say hi at some point. And the idea is that yes, I very much like the style and the way that the game mechanics work in Heroes 2. And what I envisioned was taking Heroes of Might and Magic 2 and adding, obviously making my own story and making my own characters and making my own types of armies and factions. I mean, the factions, some of them will be quite similar, but they're not going to be the exact same ones, and for the most part. And I also want to add some game mechanics. I really thought that it would be best if, for example, you could interact more with the adventure map, and to that end I would really like to implement something like the hero being able to, let me show you over here, it's in the to-do list. Where is it? Yeah, infrastructure, buildable adventure map infrastructure. This means roads, walls, gates, bridges, mines, whatever. So basically I would very much like it if it were possible that the generals, we're not going to call them heroes in this game, that the generals of the armies are going to be able to actually modify the adventure map to their will. Well, some factions will be able to do more modifications, some factions will be able to do less, some will do only specific ones. For example, I was thinking that the barbarian race or faction should only be able to destroy improvements, because you know that's you have to beat down the man, and yeah, so they should be able to destroy roads and walls and all of that good stuff, and you know, not use anything instead. Maybe the elves, which are going to be like these tree folk and nature folk, maybe these guys are also going to be able to destroy stuff like walls and gates and bridges, because they, you know, they get in the way of nature, and you know, there's going to be some nuance to how all of this works. Is this going to be easily what's it called, balanceable? No, definitely not. Am I looking to make a serious competitive online game? Again, no, I am not. If people end up liking it and playing it online, and you know, there are big concerns with certain factions or certain strategies or certain skills being overpowered, then I will obviously when the time comes, I will obviously step in and try to balance things out. But in the meantime, balance is really not my first and foremost worry, to be honest. Right now, I'm mostly worried about being able to actually finish the game and implementing the mechanics that I set out to implement. Right, so something else that I would very much like to have in this game, which should look and play kind of like Heroes of Might and Magic 2, except that the adventure map is in isometric mode and not in the, you know, not in the normal squarey top-down view. I would also like to have a system in which the units in your armies, let me go back here. I actually don't think that I did this. That I've added this. No, this hasn't yet been added to the to-do list, because this has to do with, well, it's got to do with both army management and battlefield. And I've got a friend working on the battlefield. He just joined a couple of weeks ago, and he's right now still learning Godot a bit. I might start it together with him, or he might just give me a version, and then we could go from there and implement it. By the way, so yeah, the battlefield is going to be coming. Right, a battlefield mechanic that I would like to have implemented in this game, which I will also need to name in the near future. I'll probably settle on a name, but I have to ask some people first about it. Right. Anyway, mechanic. Each army or unit in your army. So let's go to the pictures over here. As you can see, Heroes of Might and Magic. Let me open this image in a new tab. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay, that looks pretty bad. Are there no... Oh, HD view. There we are. Yes, please. HD view. There we go. Okay, that's better. So, as you can see in Heroes of Might and Magic, your units on the battlefield have a certain number attached to them, and that number relays how many individuals within that group there are, how many of the stack. And the idea behind this is nice. It's very good and very easy. It's basically an RPG game with, you know, numbers added to it, so to say, because this is how you would also fight and play in an RPG game usually. But now you have armies and stacks and numbers attached to them. So the basic idea of this is that I would like the generals to be attachable to these units as captains. Let's call them captains. And then only one of the captains in your army is going to be regarded as a general, the one which, you know, makes the logistical decisions and is shown on the adventure map when you're moving around. And so each of these stacks will possibly have one captain, just one captain or / general attached to them, and then their skills and spells and buffs will be added to the stacks themselves. And then obviously some captains will have synergies with some types of units or some type of you know, some faction type, and you can build strategies and tactics out of that. and this will also imply that because you get more turns, more not turns, more chances per turn to actually cast a spell or a special ability, then that means that the spells and the special abilities will have to be drastically watered down, because you wouldn't want 5 wizard captains or all 5 calling Armageddon in one turn. That would definitely not be very balanced and fun to play against. But there will still be spells, there will still be abilities, and this is going to give the game a more of a tactical RPG feel than a necessarily a strategy numbers game feel. Because honestly, if Heroes of Might and Magic didn't have a big emphasis on magic, it would just be a numbers game, who has the bigger army, and then that wouldn't be much fun. I mean, it would be until you just learn which units are the best and what's more important for you to have, and yeah, that would be it. So what I'd like to also have, and I'm just explaining this in this vlog over here, this is going to be the first one that I do. I did do some updates which are on my YouTube channel, which, you know, those are very short. But yeah, these are I would say these are the 2 main features that my game would have compared to the classical Heroes of Might and Magic 2. It would have a bunch more heroes on the field in the combat, with obviously watered down abilities, but still relevant, still important, especially because of all the battlefield mechanics that I want to implement, which, by the way, I am going to implement some different battlefield mechanics than the Heroes games have. Not, you know, not extremely different, but still different. And I will talk about that in probably my next vlog or whatever, in a future one anyway. And that's going to be that. And then the second, or actually first, change is that the adventure map is going to be a lot more customizable when you play it. So you will be able to build bridges across rivers, and you'll be able to build bridges and mines, and upgrade mines and capture them. Also, I would like the resource stockpiles to be decentralized for your kingdom, so your kingdom won't have a centralized resource file that you can use in every corner of the map whenever you like, with whichever hero. That was, to me, a bit too unrealistic. And it's not that I really want realism, this is a fantasy game, obviously, but I would really like to, you know, to implement some more mechanics and see how we go from there. And yeah, and there's a bunch more ideas that I've got, and changes to be had in mind. Basically, the only thing that I'm not going to be changing all that much are the towns and the towns mechanics. So if you go, let me see, a picture of a town over here. I think that was all, yeah, this was the only one. So let's go with a picture of the town. Basically what you did in towns in Heroes 2 and 3, which was build buildings and get some bonuses and then recruit units. Basically the same thing will be happening in this game as well, in my game as well, but there will be some subtle differences. There might be some interesting mechanics over there. The castle sieges are going to be completely different, by the way. Just a heads up. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but basically I do not agree with the attackers being able to see behind the castle walls. That's also something that is a bit immersion breaking, because you're really not God or flying a helicopter above the battlefield to know exactly which unit goes where. So that won't be possible. So I mean, it will be possible once you break some of the walls, or once you get like a flying unit on top of the walls, so that's going to give you vision, but it is going to be a bit more tactical in that sense. And also the retreating mechanic is not going to be the same as in the Heroes games for the battles. I mean, the retreating, or negotiating surrender mechanics are a bit weird in the Heroes games, in that your hero just disappears from the battlefield, and even if he was on the complete opposite side of the continent of the map, you can just rehire him instantly. Even though it took him like 2 weeks, 14 days to walk his army down there, you can just instantly recruit him, and if he surrendered, he's going to have his army back as well. And I find that mechanic to be completely overpowered and immersion breaking in my opinion. So I will not be having that sort of a retreat or surrender. What I will be having is a tactical retreat in which the army just moves back 1 square and then, you know, gets, if it's a multiplayer match, it gets a bit of a head start so that it moves away a bit more, so that the other player can, you know, has to decide whether or not he's going to pursue and attack that army again. Oh yes, and also something, well, I would say minor, but it's not actually minor, for the battlefield, is that I do not wish to see the tactic which is being used in Heroes 2 and 3 and even 5, 6 and 7 I think, and 4, in all of them basically. You can just have a stack of 1 unit and then suicide it so that it takes the brunt of a retaliation attack, or just suicide it in front of another unit who is going to shoot from behind, and that tactic, that mechanic also needs to be improved, needs to go. It's also immersion breaking and not realistic at all. So I will be adding a actual morale system in which units, if they feel outnumbered or if they lose their morale for whatever reason, they will just stop taking your orders and run for the nearest exit, or the nearest retreat point on the battlefield. So yeah, that's something that is going to happen. Also, retaliation mechanic is going to be improved in that if you've got, I don't know, if you've got 1 peasant attacking 1,000 dragons, the retaliation for 1,000 dragons isn't going to go away, okay? Maybe it's going to go away for 1 dragon, but the other 999 dragons are going to retaliate the second time that stack gets attacked. Because this really makes the game be about who strikes first. That's why haste and slow were such important spells in all of the Heroes games, and it actually, you know, it's not as fun to have battles as it should be. But yeah, anyway, I've rambled for a bit. How long is this video? This is 28 minutes almost on YouTube. On Twitch it's a bit longer because I started streaming earlier. The main point, let's go through what I've accomplished during this time. So before I started the streaming challenge, I only had the camera system, the tile map system and its initialization. I had a mouse controller for changing the pointers. I had a army. I had the ability to move the army or an army, a selected army with the numpad. I could also click and path and move the army to a certain tile on the map, which took me like a whole month to do because I was a dumbass who didn't know that Godot has its own A-star class. But you know, I've learned now, even though I still use my own implementation of the A-star. I have to be real honest here. I really like experimenting and learning new stuff, right? So that's basically half the reason why I'm doing this. The other half is because I like games and I like the Heroes games, but to be honest, half of the reason why I'm doing this is because I actually like to learn new stuff and figure things out on my own. Then we've got land-sea mass separation. What I mean by that, and I will show you real quick, is, well, I can't show you real quick. Maybe I can. Anyway, let's move to the side here. Right, so as you can see, the mouse pointer turns red when you go on the sea, and it stays green over here. The idea is that I didn't know how to make A-star to work better and faster, and I came up with the idea of separating land masses and sea masses which are not connecting through a portal or a boat or some other sort of a means of connecting them, and that way I can more easily tell my algorithm, so it can move here Did I just crash? Yes, I crashed it because my A-star algorithm is very, very bad. Anyway, yeah, work in progress. Anyway, the point is that you shouldn't be able to click on things that are not reachable for your army, right? So if you need to get a boat, or if you need to cast a spell to go beyond a hill, I could no, can I though? I think I can. Let me see if I can do something real quick now to show you guys what I'm talking about. Yeah, let's put these stones here. Let's see if that works. Let's go up. No, they don't. Yeah, no, they don't work. What I wanted to do is close this off so that I can show you guys that separate land masses are not accessible unless you know, cast fly or cast dimension door or get a portal over there, right? But what's very important is that I made that landmass separation, and it's basically kind of like having continents. You can think about it as separate continents, which, in order for you to cross from one to the other, you have to find the means of doing it. And after the landmass separation, actually not after, this was done before, but I do have a save map system that is used to make these maps and to save them. I did have some of the UI elements and the basics for the army movement mechanics, which are still there, but you know, I've implemented a bit more. I also had the movement trackers, which surprisingly took a bunch of work to get done and to get done right, especially by the artist. Who, yeah, I'm not going to get into details. Anyway, he had a rough time understanding how many arrows I needed and why, and no. But anyway, also center the camera on moving army, which is something that happens if you move this guy and then you move the camera around, the movement stops. Right. Also, if you click the map, the movement stops. Let me show you guys. Let's make him walk there and click there, and the movement stops. If you click another army in the list of armies, then the movement stops as well. So that's something that I made. And then and bear in mind, this was starting at the end of April. I basically had the first versions of the game at the beginning of May, and so it took me May and June. And yeah, May and June, and almost half of July to actually get to this point. I was also learning Godot, and I also had a bunch of other work to deal with because you know, I've got other stuff going on in my life. But anyway, it took me like almost 3 months to get what I just enumerated, and then in these two weeks, then since I started streaming, bear in mind I did have the knowledge and the basics down. I've managed to implement multiple armies per player. I actually managed to implement multiple players. Did I actually write this down? Yes, I added basics for multiple players. Yeah, there we go. Then I did the army selection UI. I reworked the mouse controller and the UI interaction, which, by the way, needs to be reworked yet again in light of me learning new stuff about Godot and GDScript. I made it possible to interact with map objects, which I will show you. I think there's a tower over here somewhere. The style maps that I made aren't perfect. Okay, let's get there. So, find an abandoned tower, and there's a text, and then there's 2 buttons which you can click. Everything else is... oh, it's not. Everything else should be... shouldn't be working, but I need to like I said, I need to rework the UI and the mouse controller and the keyboard as well, right? Yeah, this is working as well. It shouldn't be working, but anyway. So you have 2 options. The explore option isn't yet implemented, but the salvage one is. You just get some more resources. I added these resources bar, the stockpile for the army up there, and also to the right are going to be some other you know, technical data about the currently selected army. Okay, so I improved the map. I improved the movement trackers because they weren't working correctly, and I didn't have the red ones for, you know, after you can't move anymore. That's an interesting bug. Yeah, anyway. I improved the mouse and keyboard input controls. I again need to revamp these. I also improved the army move mechanics a bit. And then I added the day cycle or the end turn mechanics, which basically work just for single player right now, and even then there's no AI, so I still need to add the AI. And I've decentralized the resource stockpile, so if you switch between armies, you've got different stockpiles showing up there, and they are the properties of each separate army and of each separate town. And then I've added basics for multiple players, like I said. I've added the fog of war and the line of sight mechanics, which took me like 3 whole days to get done. I mean, not whole days. I worked on it for like 3 days. And then finally, the last day, I've added map NPCs and basics for interacting with them. I can show you that right now. What? Yeah, just right there. Oh, and I have like basic day events implemented, which I should also. There we go. You find 8 Babylonians, and these Babylonians have blocked your way. Demand tribute if you wish to pass. What shall we do? Oh yes, by the way, interacting with armies on the adventure map is also going to be changed from the regular classic Heroes of Might and Magic game. So you can attack. In this guy's case, he can barter, or he can retreat. That's also an option that should be possible. Why should you not be able to retreat? I mean, it's usually, historically speaking, most battles were like, or a lot of battles had a lot of wars had a lot of mouse and cat games, or cat and mouse running around games. So that you fight the enemy on your terms, not on their terms, because if you get attacked when you're not ready, or you don't think that you're ready, or the terrain isn't good enough, then that's going to be a bit of an issue. But anyway, I'm not going to make this game be a cat and mouse game, so obviously that's not going to be possible in here, but it should be possible for you to retreat a bit. And also, what I forgot to add in here, added basic day events system. So what that means is that, like in the Heroes of Might and Magic games, there are, as you can see, nothing in particular is happening today. But then when you get to a certain day, which can be customized, day 7, it's going to be Day of Prayer. All night units gain +1 morale. That's just a text. It's not the mechanic yet, but I did add the idea and the framework for doing that. Also, I should probably remove these. There we go. So yeah, going forward, there's a lot of things still to be done. The battlefield is obviously a big chunk of that. The multiplayer is an even bigger chunk than this. AI is a huge chunk as well, and I mean, just finishing all of the events and all of the methods of interacting with units, NPCs, towns, mines, event buildings, or other points of interest. That's going to be a lot of work to be done. There's also bugs to be fixed and algorithms to be improved. So yeah, there's still a whole lot of work to be done. But I would very much like to thank everybody who has tuned in to my Twitch stream. From now on, it's not going to be daily. It's not going to be a daily Twitch stream, development stream, as it was for these past 2 weeks or more. I will be streaming on some days, and it's going to be a lot more chaotic. I'm not going to be able to have a schedule. I didn't have a schedule these 2 weeks either, but it's going to be quite chaotic, and we will need to see what we do and how we do it. And yeah, I will also be making a website with the features of the game that I would like to have finished. I'm going to feature some of the graphics that I have over there, to give you guys just a quick sneak peek of some of the graphics that I have in here. So I've got this centaur, I've got this knight. I do have like a finished concept lineup for these guys in 2 colors each. We're still debating which to use and how to use them. Yeah, so these are like some of the units that I would like to use. We've got some other graphics in here, but they're not really finished. They're not really worth too much of a look. So yeah, that's just a quick sneak peek. I'm desperately looking for more concept artists and designers and people, graphical designers, and people with experience in general with this sort of work, because that's what the project definitely needs right now. And I think we can do okay for now with 2 coders alone. Especially since I'm doing the brunt of the work, it's not that big of an issue. I don't know. We'll have to see. So the plan for the next, let's say, 2 weeks. So let's work similar to agile methodology. So let's say that the plan for the next 2 weeks is to first and foremost get the website done and start working on gathering more and more of fandom, get more people around the game, making a mailing list, and encouraging people to join my Discord and stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, hopefully, I hope the sound worked. I hope the music wasn't too loud on my YouTube recording, else I'm going to be very upset. Anyway, right, so thank you to everybody who has tuned in again. I hope I'll see you guys next time in my next vlog or in my next game dev stream. And leave a like if you like what I'm doing, or if you'd like to see more. Leave a dislike if you don't, for whatever reason, or leave a comment. Please subscribe, please follow on Twitch. And yeah, thanks for watching. Goodbye.